Hey, my name is Lo, or at least Lo is what they call me. I'll be your guide through this tale. Now I listen to the stars and I tell you what they say, but sometimes it's not so easy to hear them. If you're looking to hear us all a little more clearly, then go ahead and skip to our 10th meeting. That would be Book 2, Chapter 5. If you want to catch up on what you've missed, then you can listen to our Star Watching recap episodes, or check out our description for our recap notes. And should you be so inclined, you can find a link to our Discord server where you can talk to these boys and other TTRPG enthusiasts and find some maps and art of this world. It ain't easy sitting here, listening, talking. Sometimes I wonder if anyone can hear me, or if it's just the night sky. But I hope I found someone. I hope I found you.
Last session, you all decided on who was going to go and visit Lachlan in the jail of District 7 of somewhere. Kian, Virgil, and Henry, you headed over while Ox stayed behind with Ophelia, and were led to a visitation room that was mostly empty besides 3 chairs and a barred wall. Kian had a lovely, pleasant chat with Lachlan, telling him the basics of the plan, that they would be waiting in somewhere for the next 2 weeks or so until Henry's daddy was able to make it down from Dawning. And then we cut to Ophelia and Ox, who have just been waiting at Simone's Inn. They brought out some cards to play solitaire, and after probing Ophelia for a while about questions mostly surrounding Kian's past, Ophelia asked that Ox tell her something about himself. She sits back from the card game. So, are you from around here? The accent, it's a bit familiar.
Well, I guess my story starts in nowhere. It's a small mining town out about a 2-day walk to nowhere proper.
Did you walk here?
From nowhere?
Yes.
No. I took the train. First time I came.
If I may ask, why Henry Goodlove, exactly?
Ox sighs a little, and he pulls out a flask from the pocket in his jacket, which is just sitting on the couch with him, and pours a little in his teacup and takes a shot. Well,
What is that?
It's some whiskey if you want any. Kind of offers the flask a little.
She looks at it for a moment, thoughtfully, and picks up her teacup and stands up and walks over to the tea cabinet. She opens up the cabinet next to it, which you see is filled with a variety of bottles. Takes one out. You sort of catch a bit of the label. It has what looks like real silver on it, or some sort of metal, a frosted white top. Pours herself some sort of clear spirit into her teacup. Settles back down next to you. This is a good tea party. She takes a sip. Anyway, Henry, why?
Well, when I first got out of prison, I went here to Simone's. I didn't really know where else to go. I wanted to start looking for my sister, and closest I could get to was Henry's shop. It was one of the last places Simone knew she was going to be at, and she left a gift for Henry that I would find. She stole a gun from me. Guess she disassembled it. It's in pieces now, and Henry's got one of the pieces. And damn rat bastard won't give it back, so started traveling together.
But Henry won't give it back.
No.
Have you tried just taking it?
Yeah. He's got a good handle on it. He's got the alarm spell, and every time I've gone for it, it goes off. or Delilah finds me and starts playing with me, won't let me get it. The only way I'm going to get it back is by building Henry his own.
She takes another sip, puts her teacup down, crosses her arms. So your relationship is not a friendly one, then?
Well, it's gotten friendlier over the months we've known each other. Definitely wouldn't have made it this far without Henry, and he's the one helping me pay Virgil.
And Virgil is your bodyguard?
Well, it started with just me and Henry out there looking for someone who could help me find my sister, Scarlet. Every time I've gone after her, she gets the better of me. That's why I've been in prison twice. Maybe this time, if I have some help, it'll be easier.
Right. So, after you find her, what, are you all going your separate ways?
Haven't gotten that far yet, but I don't know. Might be nice to travel with some folks for a while. Kind of like this group. He takes a sip from his little teacup.
This whiskey teacup?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not in much of a position to help right now, of course. But if I have to be in somewhere for a while, I could keep an eye out. The group of people I travel with are generally good at keeping up to date with the comings and goings of unusual things in different islands.
You traveling with people right now?
Yes, or I was, until she sort of waves her hand around the room. All of this. But I have a couple of sending spells a day. I can still communicate with them. Hopefully I'll be able to travel with them once all this is over and Lachlan's out.
Are they still in town or
No.
they move on?
No. We decided it was probably safer if they go somewhere else.
Ox takes another sip of whiskey from his teacup, sets it down. Well, I'm sure if you wanted to travel with us for a little while, I certainly wouldn't object to it. I bet Keen wouldn't either.
She sort of smiles and pauses for a moment. He might. Or I might. Once all this is over, maybe I shouldn't be angry with Kian as much as I have been. And I've been trying to, hold that back. But he did sort of just leave. And I know he didn't mean to get us into this. Or at least he says he didn't mean to get us into this. Because I haven't really thought about that either completely. It's one thing at a time. But I do appreciate the offer. She downs her teacup. Are you alright here? I mean, are you safe? You said you were in prison twice? Or you were in jail?
Yeah, prison twice, jail a few times.
And you can just walk freely around the city?
I paid my dues here. Shouldn't be an issue.
You think it'll be the same for Lachlan?
Probably not, since they know who he is and that he's worth something.
Well, I guess that's what I expected. I'll just have to stay away for a while. I hope you find your sister.
Yeah. Ox pours some more whiskey into his teacup and shoots it all down. Where are you from, Ophelia?
Did you, recognize that bottle?
Did she put it back?
She did.
No, I guess I don't know much about clear liquor other than tequila.
Well, she gets back up, gets it out of the cupboard, brings it over, and sets it down in front of you. Just has a label on it, says Summit, nothing else. This is the good stuff. Simone can be actually rather sweet sometimes. I think maybe she knew I needed something from home. And, well, it's Summit Gin. It's from Suelis. It's where I'm from as well. It's hard to find. It's from this sort of special juniper tree. Only to be found very high up the mountain. That's where I'm from. Place Ophelia's from. is the continent to the west of Octarius. It's very mountainous. Most of it is cold, even at lower elevations. The most powerful guardian there is an ice dragon.
Sexy.
Very sexy.
Most people don't know much about overseas. Spread of information from island to island is relatively new, and it's hard, of course, too. But you know at least the name and about the ice dragon, who's basically the equivalent of the phoenix in Octarius. But that was some years ago, and well, my interests didn't exactly align with my family, so I decided to leave. And like I said before, didn't know what I was doing. And thankfully Lachlan was able to help me. It's not terribly interesting, just far away.
How old were you when you left?
I was, so count on her fingers a bit. 105.
105? How old are you now?
167. I mean, she sort of points to her ears and to yours. Why are you acting so surprised?
Guess I haven't met that many people that old.
You'd be surprised. You know Simone.
Yeah, that's true. Guess I'm still pretty young for an elf.
How old are you?
27.
Her eyes widen a bit and she nods. All right. I don't want to offend, but yes, you are rather young.
Ox grabs the bottle and kind of looks it over, looks at the label, pops off the top, gives it a little whiff. You mind if I...
Go ahead.
He'll pour just like a little bit in his teacup and take his little sip.
Pace yourself.
Stronger than I thought it'd be.
And you're so young.
Real floral.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
She stands up. See Felly, the hummingbird, flits off of her shoulder and sort of zips around the room. Ophelia just sort of walks over to the window and looks out and walks back. The hummingbird goes up to you, hovers in front of your face. You see the sort of ridge of feathers go up and down a bit, and flits away from you and flits back. Sorry, is she bothering you?
Nah, and Ox will hold out his two little fingers for her to perch on.
Yeah, she'll perch.
Cute. He'll give her some gentle little scritches under her chin.
Ophelia just sort of watches. She smiles. She likes you, that's good. Do you think they should be back by now?
How long has it been since they've been gone, do you think?
I don't know, 30 minutes or so?
30 minutes, and it's like an hour walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna be so wasted when we get
Oh, absolutely. Well, probably won't be back for another 2 hours or so.
How long has it been?
30, 45 minutes maybe.
She looks over at one of the ornate clocks hanging from the wall and sits down next to you. Shall we play another round then?
Yeah. And Ox will pour himself a little more gin, and if her teacup is empty, he'll pour her a little more too.
Yeah, she'll hold out her teacup.
Excellent, yeah.
They're little teacups, it's alright. It's all fine.
Yeah, just baby.
Relevant question, will Ox drink until he is drunk in this scenario?
It's daytime.
Yeah, but you're just having little sips.
It's
Yeah.
just little
If
sips,
there's
it's
20 or
fine.
30 of
If
them-
this affects your decision at all,
Mm-hmm.
Ophelia absolutely does.
Excellent. Ox absolutely does.
Okay, cool. I think at some point Ophelia mixes some lap song souchong with the gin, and it's actually surprisingly good.
Yeah, Ox takes a cup of that too.
So while Ophelia and Ox have their tea party, the three of you just finished your meeting with Lachlan, or two of you finished your meeting with Lachlan, and Henry finished his cigar bribe smoking session with the guard, who you convinced to leave the other two alone to talk to Lachlan. You're all free to go. They just lead you back to the exit. You are met with the same woman who greeted you at the door. She just gives you a little perky smile and wave and leads you back outside. See you then! Closes the door.
So what's Keen's vibe?
He
Can I get a vibe check? Is it like caged animal? Is it like grumpy?
He left the room with an air of confidence, and that has kind of dwindled a bit as they've walked further and further away. And he looks a little bit lost. He doesn't look like crestfallen or anything. His brows are furrowed, and he's looking straight ahead, starting to walk towards Simone's.
Virgil looks over at Henry awkwardly for a second, and back at Kian. Are you going to be alright?
I'll be fine.
I'm sure you have free reign, you and your friends, to visit again whenever you want to.
I doubt he'd want that, so let's head on back.
Your conversation in there, was it worth it? Me leaving, I mean.
Thank you for that. I
Well-
guess kind of let my temper get the worst of me, but it's fine.
He didn't do anything too rash, right, Virgil?
No, just some strong words on either side.
I see. Well, I'm sure you'll fill me in on the walk back, but if you're going to visit in the future without myself or Virgil or Ox or someone, do be careful what you're saying, Kian. You came very close to revealing a lot more than would be beneficial to us for a guard to listen in on. Frankly, that's more why I left than anything. Started talking about Ophelia, and, well, wasn't the wisest choice. So in the future, perhaps, at least keep the names out of things. Except Lachlan, I think that's a fine name to use in front of him. You know. Not for his sake, for the guards and whatnot, you know.
I know, I wasn't gonna listen otherwise.
Understandable, but you know that's why it's a team effort. So, I'm glad you were able to have a full conversation, names and all.
I appreciate your distraction. He just keeps walking.
Henry would definitely ask Virgil to fill him in.
Oh god. The gist of what you get is like, it just seems like a complicated breakup. Honestly.
Right on the money.
Both of them did something wrong to the other and them are really like finding closure yet, but maybe that'll change when Lachlan is out of jail and they have a second chance. That's like what you get. Virgil does not give you details about the things that they said.
You all arrive at Simone's Inn, again without even pretending to glance your way. She just sort of waves you on up to your room. You knock on the door, and Ophelia answers the door. You, Kian, as someone who knows her rather well, can see that she seems a little uneven, maybe. Ushers you all in. You see, well, I won't dictate what Ox has been doing, but there are some cards laid out on the floor. There are also some cards that are stacked into a rather impressive card castle. Ophelia is sitting at the base. Did I say Ophelia? I'm going to say Felly. Felly is sitting at the base, because it looks like she's in the doorway. Ophelia gestures to her work and says, "We've been very busy since you all left. And how did it go?" Kian's face softens as soon as he sees her, but as soon as she asks that, it freezes a bit. I mean, as well as it could go. She turns around, picks up a bottle that's sitting on the floor next to the card house, thrusts it into your arms. He takes a swig.
You can see Ox, pretty, drunkenly, laying on the floor, just trying to stack, how many 5 cards, just into, a tiny little tower. And, it's almost like he's got it, and then it falls, and he starts over again.
Kian, please. That's expensive stuff. Don't just drink straight from the bottle. 1 second. She ushers behind you and grabs a teacup off of the counter and hands it to you. Sorry, you handed me the bottle. I don't know what you're expecting. Well, sure, but you can... She gestures to the teacups behind you. You can grab a cup yourself. I wasn't aware that that's what you were... It's fine, I'll use a teacup. Thank you.
So is this what you have been up to while we were gone?
Ox looks up from the floor, and then looks over toward Ophelia. Well, not the whole time, but... yeah?
Yeah. He'll go and sit by Ox and help with the card castle.
Did you meet Lachlan, Henry?
In a sense, I met him. I mean, he was behind bars and I was there for a short period of time, but I found it was important to make some sort of a distraction to get the guard out of the room. Kian really needs to learn how to not expose details. If you could be so kind as to teach him, you seem like you might have an idea more of that subtlety sort of thing. Sorry, Kian.
I'll do my best. But that, duty may be passed on to you all now, so good luck.
Right. But I do understand that it was a productive conversation, and I'm sure Lachlan is a lot more pleasant when he's not starving behind bars.
Yes, I'm sure.
There is actually something you in particular could help me with, Ophelia. I was told at least you might be able to help, but we don't have to do this now.
No, no. She walks over to you, rests a hand on your shoulder. Let me help, I've just been sitting around all day.
Oh, you seemed a little, like you've had a lot to drink, and I'm not sure how proficient you have to be with magic to not blow anything up when you are under the influence.
Virgil, I am an expert at this sort of thing.
Right.
I'm sure I can handle a simple spell, unless, of course, the spell involves some sort of explosive, in which case, yes, there's a chance that if I have to aim at something I could miss.
It should not. It's, has come to my attention that my earring may or may not have some sort of magical property, and I was wondering if with your skills you would be able to tell.
Of course. I can try to identify it.
What exactly would that entail?
Well, you just have to hand it over. I'll say a few words, I think. Do I have to speak with that spell? I don't know. Let me just consult my...
I can see the Googles.
That's what liquor does to you in this universe.
Let me just ask my patron Google. Yes, so they say that I just have to say a few words, and, you know, I should have some pearls around somewhere. I mean, Simone has plenty. Anyway, yes, I can just cast a spell. And you know what most things are that way.
So it would tell you what it is, or how does it work? What sort of information do you get from it?
If it's a magical item, it'll usually tell me about the sort of magic it is, and only certain people can use it, things like that, you know?
And if it's not magic, what does it give you?
It doesn't really do anything. I mean, if the thing is not magic, I don't really need magic to tell what it is. Well, I guess that's not true. Sometimes you don't think things are, but you understand.
I think so. He'll take off the earring and just kind of like hold it in his hands and look at it for a while.
Ox does kind of slump over onto Virgil a little bit at some point while he's holding the earring.
He goes tense, but like doesn't pull away.
Oh.
It's not as though he's uncomfortable, he's like surprised and doesn't know what to do. Be careful with it. And is this a quick sort of thing?
I could make it quick. Let me just get the supplies all together, and I'll be right back.
Thank you.
She rushes out the door.
He just like closes the earring in his hands, so it's not visible.
Virgil, if I might ask, what sort of magic has been happening?
I'm not certain. I have realized lately I have been able to see better at night than I should be able to. That is all. I only wonder if it is more than that. And I've had this earring for years now. It shouldn't be doing this.
And you are familiar with your lineage, family-wise. I mean, everyone is human to the best of your knowledge.
Yes, we're just humans. Nothing special.
Well, you don't have to add just in front of it. Humans can be many things.
I know.
Would you be so kind as to let me take a look at it?
His hands close tighter around it. I'd rather only have to do this once. I mean, no offense, Henry, it is only very personal.
Right. If it consoles you in any way, you're not the sort of man I'd take anything from, in the literal sense.
What were you planning?
Well, I've seen a lot of jewelry of questionable origins before. I might know something.
I think perhaps I'd rather wait for Ophelia.
Suppose that makes sense. Only known her for one day, but I understand.
Can I insight check how butthurt Henry is about this?
Sure.
Excellent. That's a 22.
Oh shit.
Pretty about her.
Sorry, bud.
Well, with that, the door slams open and then very quietly shuts as Ophelia sort of like... As Ophelia meows. As Ophelia realizes that she's being a bit loud and very gently closes it behind her. She rushes into the room. In one hand, she's holding one of the pearls you can recognize that Simone has sort of dotted through her hair, and there's a pale feather stuck into Ophelia's braid. She pulls out, sort of presents them both to Virgil. This is all I need. Simone pretty much has everything here, really. So do you want me to do it now?
You said you have to hold it for this to work?
I don't have to hold it. I could just touch it if you don't mind holding hands.
I might prefer that.
Is it breakable?
I hope not. Just be careful. And he, very slowly, unclenches his fist around it and just, holds out his hand with it on his palm for her.
She sits down across from Virgil. It's very pretty.
It is.
She glances over at Kian and back at Virgil. Are you sure this is alright? You just seem a little tense.
I don't mean to come off as distrustful. It is... I just want to know what's happening to it.
Alright. This spell shouldn't hurt it or anything, so you don't have to worry.
He doesn't say anything.
Right. She grips the pearl in her fist, holds the feather lightly between her fingers in one hand, and places the other over yours. And you feel her trace a shape just sort of over the earring and a little bit over your palm as well, as she whispers the words of the spell. She falls silent for a moment. Her brow kind of furrows in focus. You see the feather in her hand fizzle almost, like it's burning, but there's no smoke, and then it vanishes. About a minute passes, and she pulls her hand away and opens her eyes and looks over at you, and she looks sort of confused, and there are just tears streaming down her cheeks.
Are you alright? He puts the earring back on.
Yes, I don't know. That's never happened before. Sorry. She gets up and so you walk over to the bathroom and close the door.
Have you seen her cast that spell before, Kian? Is it supposed to do that?
I don't think so.
He gets up and hesitates just outside the bathroom door and just gently knocks on it. Ophelia, are you alright in there?
You hear her muffled voice. Alright, sorry. Lots to drink, you know.
He just sort of wanders aimlessly back over and sits on the couch.
Do you mind? I mean, she probably needs some time.
That's alright. Yeah, that's fine.
If you wouldn't mind explaining a bit more about that in the meantime. It's just... my patron was pretty interested in it too.
Well, yeah, they would be. Jubilee had something similar. It has to do with our status as shepherds. It was something we produced at the end of the final test in becoming a shepherd proper. So I'm not surprised. Aelin has seen it before and is familiar. I only wanted to know if there was something going on with it. As far as I know, it shouldn't be magical.
They also said it wasn't yours?
It was given to me. This one in particular was Rowan's.
Right now might not be the best time, but I'd like to know. You said you don't know what happened to him, but what do you think happened? Do you think he's alive?
I would like to hope so. I know it led up to what happened, and I don't know what became of him afterwards, but I did promise I'd tell you, so... Well, we're waiting for Ophelia. If you would like to hear that story, I will tell it, but I will warn you again, it is not his sword with a happy ending.
I think Kian kind of sighs, gets up, goes to the cabinet, rifles around.
The tea cabinet or the liquor cabinet?
The liquor
Same
cabinet.
one, you know?
Same
There's a
cabinet.
top shelf and a bottom
Yeah.
shelf.
No, the tea. We've established the tea is stored right next to the liquor.
Ah, yes, I see.
Depending on what kind of tea party you're about to have.
Ox watches Kian carefully as he does this.
I think he just looks for something that doesn't look as fancy.
I mean, it all looks rather nice.
Yeah.
There's more alcohol intense liquors on the bottom, and at the top you see like wines. You see another bottle of the Summit gin that Ophelia was drinking. There is some whiskey in there, some rum.
He'll just choose the plainest bottle.
Okay.
And I don't even think he like really pays attention to what's in it. Just pours into his cup. Right, well it's already kind of been a day, but I'd rather not dwell on this as well. So let's get it over with.
Perhaps you should sit down.
Sits down on the couch.
Ox kind of looks over to see the color of the liquid in Kian's cup.
It's clear.
Is Ox still on the floor?
Yeah, Ox is on the floor, kind of like leaning a little bit on Virgil's legs.
Yeah.
Nice and cozy.
Gentle lean between friends.
Then Henry will come and join Ox on the floor, leaning on one arm, legs out to the side.
Incredible.
They're like story time.
Virgil just like sighs and takes a second. Well, I met Rowan when we were just recruits for the Dawn Shepherds program. I was 18 at the time. He was 19. We became fast friends, though that was mostly his doing, and over time we grew close, and closer still when we passed the final test and were officially designated as shepherds. And so we began taking missions. Little things at first, mostly driving out incursions of fey creatures from Dawning, but as we grew more comfortable with our new abilities, our superiors assigned us individual training sessions, things meant to bring out our respective strengths and latent abilities we had yet to discover. And Rowan was singled out for a more ambitious and far more dangerous path, but our commander-in-chief seemed confident in his ability to stay true to this path without straying from it. He never told me exactly what happened in his training sessions. He was very secretive about it, but he began to exhibit this sort of unnatural speed and strength in those early days, and over time we began to see a physical change on the battlefield as well. They taught him how to change into a sort of beast and harness its bloodlust on the battlefield to fight in the name of Dawning. It was unnerving seeing him so not like himself. He had this ferocity. It took some getting used to. But the more he came to rely upon this ability, the more he struggled with control. We made our concerns clear, and our commander, she did our best to support our case, but it invested far too much in Rowan to simply have him put these abilities to the wayside, and one day it became too much for him. He didn't seem to be able to recognize us. Dawning hushed it up. The official story is that the Dawn Shepherds died honorably in battle. And perhaps it's better that way. I wouldn't want him remembered at his worst. But the truth is that he was arrested for murder and treason, and after a failed jailbreak, I was quietly banished from Dawning. I don't know what became of him. I don't have high hopes, but that's all I know. It's been 2 years since, and I'm sorry I don't have better news.
Kian just takes a big sip. Right, that wasn't exactly what I was expecting.
No, I imagine not.
I was kind of picturing a bit more of a got separated in battle and maybe...
It would be kinder, yes.
I'm honestly just surprised you, of all people, tried to break someone out of jail.
Yes, it was my first and only attempt, at least so far.
So far.
I'd prefer to keep it that way.
That's why you can't go back to Dawning.
I was highly encouraged not to. Which, for all intents and purposes, is a banishment. But I would like to return, at least to see what is left. Our commander, at least, she should still be. She wasn't there when it happened.
What is she doing about this?
I'm not sure, Kian. I haven't been back. I sent a letter, actually, the other day, and I'm hoping to learn something. Anything. And if she writes back, if there is news of him, I will tell you.
Well, alright, I guess after this, you'll find your sister if you need help breaking somebody else out of jail. I can go.
I don't think it'll have to come to that. I mean, if it's in Dawning, I've definitely got a lot more influence in Dawning than I do here in Somewhere. Or my family does.
Henry, I appreciate your offer, but I'm not sure you hold enough weight to deal with this.
Well, myself individually, perhaps not. But really, everyone has a price, Virgil. I'm sure someone could be convinced.
Regardless, Henry, as high standing as your parents may be, this is at its core a military matter, and I don't believe Terran the Vane will be so easily bought.
Right. Let's see how things go here in Somewhere, and then maybe we can take matters to Dawning later. For now, though, I suppose just try not to have some sort of a bloodlust. I'd really hope...
I'm sorry, what?
Well, I was just thinking that if you're suddenly feeling unusual effects from an earring, that a man who, for lack of a better word, went feral, was also using or wearing. If you start to have any unusual, non-human type urges, maybe let us know.
We can keep each other in check.
I don't think it will come to that, but yeah.
So that earring is Rowan's?
Yes, it is. In any case, if something else happens with it, I'll let you know. For now, it just seems to be seeing in the dark.
Could he see in the dark?
When he was transformed, I believe so.
Transformed into a what?
A lion. Although, a bit larger than your usual fare, I suppose.
Daddy, what kind of history and a knowledge check might I roll?
What are you checking?
What are you checking, son?
I want to check on induced magical transformation into an animal form separate from something such as druidic magic.
What'd you get?
17.
I mean, you've heard stories of people getting sort of stuck in true polymorph, which is basically a higher level version of shapeshifting. You haven't heard anything about this transformation occurring outside of some sort of like fey charm or curse, depending on who you ask.
Okay. Is this something that he has prior, or would have heard prior, linked to the Dawn Shepherds, or do they keep it more on the down low?
You knew that they had a fighter who was very ferocious on the battlefield, but you did not know that he transformed into a lion beast.
Okay. The more you know.
Yeah.
I think at this point, Keen takes another swig of the teacup and finishes the cup off? Finishes the cup. Like puts it down. And he goes... He quietly knocks on the bathroom door.
Yes?
Ophelia, can I come in?
There's a long pause. Come in.
He slowly opens the door and kind of peeks his head in.
Ophelia is just sort of huddled up on the ground, with her knees curled up to her chest. She's like hiding her face, leaning against the claw-footed bathtub that takes up most of the space in the room.
He kind of takes a deep breath, pauses for a moment, and then goes to sit next to her on the floor. Are you doing okay? I mean, obviously not. in general?
She kind of sniffles a bit. Yes, I'm fine. I didn't mean to make a scene. She looks up and her eyes are all puffy. She's not crying anymore.
Did it just make you feel sad, or?
I guess so, yes. I don't know, it's been a bit, I've been a little stressed. Maybe I took the spell wrong. I don't know. I don't know what it is. So I guess I can tell Virgil about it.
If you still need a moment, I think Virgil can wait.
No. This is silly. Sorry, Kian. She stands up. Felly, who is sitting on her shoulder, zips back into the main room. Actually, could you just send Virgil over here?
Sure.
Is that weird?
I don't think so. I think it's fine. He kind of slowly gets up and goes to get Virgil.
Ox's head has kind of been resting a little bit on Virgil's leg.
Oh no, taking away Ox's head rest.
I think Ophelia'd rather you go in there.
Alright. Maybe for the best. Ox, you're going to have to...
Oh, sorry. And he moves a little bit.
He gets up, almost trips over Ox, like, on his way past, and goes to the bathroom.
Ophelia sort of, gently pulls you in and closes the door behind you.
Right away, I want to roll for eavesdrop.
Yeah. Ox too.
Please do it. Do you guys just Scooby-Doo up against the door?
Okay,
I
Ox. Perception.
Perception.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Same way as Gamgee has.
What'd you get?
4.
If they're doing
Yes,
this,
same.
1 second.
You too? Yeah, do it. Scooby Gang.
Well, I mean, Ox went over there, so, the rest of us have to, somebody has to babysit him. I mean, come on. He can't be, left alone.
Kian, seeing this, I think he sighs, sits down on the couch, and just closes his eyes, but Marigold pops forward and goes to, sit on Ox's shoulder, and...
Ox is now distracted by giving Marigold
Yeah, that's a
some
nice-
scritches.
That's a 19 through
Okay.
her senses.
Then, yeah, I think Marigold can pretty much pick up this conversation. Virgil, she pulls you inside, closes the door. Because she's not crying anymore. Wiping her face with the hem of her skirt. She settles back down, sits on the edge of the bathtub. Sorry, I don't know what came over me there. Your earring is very sad, it seems.
I didn't mean for it to hurt you in any way.
No, it didn't hurt me. Look, I'm fine.
She says in tears.
It seems... Well, I've never seen anything quite like it.
No, I imagine not.
It's... I don't think it's alive or anything. I feel like I would probably be able to tell.
No, it shouldn't be anything like that. But is it magical?
Yes. It is certainly magical.
Okay. What exactly does it do? What does that entail?
I don't know. Which is... Maybe I might have done the spell wrong.
What did it tell you?
Her shoulders sort of hunch up to her ears.
I have my suspicions on what it is, but I only want to know what it's doing.
I don't exactly know. It didn't feel good. I mean, not that it's an object of evil or something like that.
No, I know. I know what you meant. It's just with the dark vision thing, and I've been hearing these whistles, and I just think that might be the earring. That or I'm hearing things. Is it connecting us?
Us?
Rowan, he and myself.
So this belonged to someone else first.
Yes, this was his.
That could be it.
So am I. What is he sharing his abilities? Am I hearing? Have I been hearing him?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I was all confident about that spell, but it turns out this is sort of out of its normal range of abilities. It seems it's not a normal magical item or has some sort of protection from identification around it or something like that.
Thank you. She's sitting on the tub. He sort of kneels before her, and if she'll let him, he'll take her hands. Thank you. Truly, for trying.
Stand up. What are you doing?
Awkwardly gets back up. Thank you for doing what you could. In a way, I almost didn't expect anything, so that's more than I had.
If you want me to try again, I will.
He nods. Thank you. And he'll go to open the door and leave. Did you motherfuckers just spill in?
I mean, Ox is at the very bottom of the door. Like, he's kind of stopped paying attention to the conversation that was happening in there and has just been scritching Marigold.
Yeah. Kian, before hearing that, pops back in. He's on the couch.
But Marigold is still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Henry's leaned up against the wall next to the door looking at Ox.
So Virgil opens the door, stops, looks down at Ox on the floor.
Kind of looks up at you mid-scritch.
Big sigh, and he just steps over Ox and out.
You'll have to forgive him, he's really not the best with the whole day drinking scenario.
He doesn't say anything, he just goes right for the liquor cabinet.
And the door gently closes beside you, but Ophelia stays hidden away as you head over to the liquor cabinet.
Ox looks kind of sad as she closes the door again. This is Ox's new friend. She's in there
locked out of the
sad.
bathroom like a little puppy. He just takes a bottle, leaves a couple gold in the cabinet, and he looks like he's kind of pacing. He looks as though he's ready to go.
What kind of bottle did Virgil grab?
Something dark, but he didn't read the label or anything.
You take it with you?
Oh, he's tucking in.
Which one of you does Ox get to put an arm around to hang off of while he walks back? Is it gonna be Henry?
Yeah, he's the only sober one. Again.
You notice sometimes Ox's boot kicks your boot a little bit.
Then Henry would be a little bit irritable.
Virgil is also he's not mad. He's just disappointed.
So, you all have at least 12 days before Henry's daddy would get here. Of course, you have lodging at Henry's place above his shop. Ophelia stays over at Simone's the day after this tea party. And you are, as Virgil suggested, free to visit Lachlan again if you wish. They have told you nothing is going to happen with him until you have this meeting. He'll just be in his cell in the jail. And that's what you have before you for the next 2 weeks or so. I'm just going to go around and ask each of you what you do, if there is anything. Henry, about 6 days in, you get a message on the sending stone from your father. He informs you that there have been some delays on the line running from Dawning to somewhere, thanks to trouble in Enosh, and it might be 4 or 5 days longer than originally planned. Do you have anything planned for the next 12 to 17 days?
I think, and I'll say, if he may, little jaunt in the ocean for a couple days, 3 to 4 days.
Okay.
Solo?
Yeah, with Delilah. She's there. Mostly poking around for things that might be of value or that he could make seem valuable to someone else.
Okay. Roll. We'll do a nature check.
It's a nature check in the desert.
Nice.
28?
Okay.
Fuck.
You do very well as you scour the oceans. There are some things that you're not entirely sure what they do. You do come across some ruins that looks like it could have been, based on your knowledge, from pre-downfall times. You can take things as simple as stone tiles, shine them up, and sell them to people. You find what looks like a silver ring in these ruins. You find some of the spores that are known to contain magical energy as well while you're out there. They can be difficult to find in this environment. They don't generally grow very well in the desert, but in the shade of one of the ruined towers, you find a few of them growing. Amongst just some other like little things to stock your shop. You could make a little bit of gold selling some of the finds from this ruined tower. And Ox, you go to Forge to work on your gun?
Yeah, he's working on the pepper box right now, and he's gonna spend 10 of those days at the forge, and then another 7 days working on the gun.
You all see very little of Ox during this time, as he spends it all working on... Do they know he's working on a gun?
Yeah, I mean, like, Ox tinker. You've seen Ox tinker with the gun that he shoots regularly. He cleans the gun every day. You see him work pretty diligently on that a lot of the time, but recently you've been seeing him work on a different gun, something a little larger.
Virgil, do you have any plans for your time?
Nothing in particular. He'll spend at least a couple hours every day meditating like he did before, like when Ox was watching on the train. Another few hours actually going through forms and training.
A while into this waiting period, 10 or 11 days, you're doing one of your morning meditations, and you feel in your head the presence of a spell. And you have experienced this before, so it's not entirely uncanny to you. When people sending spells before they speak, often you can sort of sense their voice incoming. You feel it for sort of a strangely long time before you hear a familiar voice. Floris? And the spell ends.
Nico? It's nice to hear your voice.
The next day, around the same time, Sam, you're doing the meditation again?
Yeah.
You feel the spell in your head a second time, and then you hear her voice. It's Nico. Yuina. Forgive me, I believed you dead. You alright? Thank you for writing. Please visit anytime. I will write. There's a long pause. You can feel the spell sort of starting to fade, but before it does, quietly. Is Rowan with you? And ends.
I'm sorry for waiting so long to contact you. I'm not dead. Please write. I'd like to visit sometime, but he's not with you.
Next day. I'm afraid he's not with me. I'll write you. Directed to Henry Goodlove.
Yes, to Henry. I imagine this will be easier in a letter, but... Do you know what happened?
Next day. I will write you. I did write you. It'll be some time, though. Just try to be patient.
I've waited 2 years. I can wait a little longer. I hope you are well.
The magic fades. You don't hear from her again the next day. But on day 15 or so, when you go check for anything for Henry, you find something. Did you ever ask for permission to get Henry's mail?
Probably not from the post office.
Then no, they would not
Yeah.
let you take it.
Are you still out in the ocean?
No, he would be back.
Okay. Hello, sorry if I'm interrupting anything. I was only wondering if you would be willing to join me and go to the post office. I think I had something forwarded to your name. I don't exactly have a P.O. box here, so...
Right, that makes perfect sense. Well, sure, let's go and take a look then.
Thank you.
Okay, you head back. And Henry, there is something there for you. It's just a letter. It looks like unfamiliar handwriting. That's all that's there.
Is it a closed letter?
Yes.
So if Henry opens it right as soon as he gets his hands on it, how does Virgil react?
He looks like he's about to reach for it, but stops. He'll let you open it.
He'll open it, take a skim of it, and pass it over to Virgil.
If you sort of scan it for these quick went down to see who it was from. It's signed Yuina. It's addressed just to V, like the letter V. The title Commander-in-Chief Navain stands out to you. You can see references to places in Phoenix Island and Dawning, and at the end of the letter, it welcomes a visit from Virgil. So, Virgil, do you wait till you go home to...
No.
Okay.
He reads it right there, like right outside the post office.
Alright. Unlike your letter, which was sort of disguised as an order for jam from one Henry Goodlove, Yuina Nico has just sent you a letter. It's on what looks like homemade paper. There's some flower petals in it as well, dark purple, and it reads,
Dear V, you and I both know that 20 gold is far too much for a few gem jars. Should I be sending the young Goodlove a sizable shipment now? I have received plenty of letters, but none with such unexpectedly good news as this one. I thought you dead at worst and entirely untraceable at best. You did not find me until now, but I did not find you either. Do not apologize for the time that has passed. Life is full of mistakes made. Don't waste your apologies on mistakes that were not yours. The answer to your question is one you may not expect, as I did not. The Nico family of Goodglen was established long before I knew of them. It shouldn't have been such a surprise to find distant relatives of Elena's in the Phoenix Island. When the ley lines from Dawning were discovered, many peoples left their home islands to explore. Then they ended up back where they started, working land on a small farm. It seems I have followed that same circular path. This sort of retirement was, in all honesty, not entirely by choice. I was unwell for a time after losing you and Rowan. I am no longer fit for a position in the Phoenix's Guard. Commander-in-Chief Navain does not pardon carelessly, nor do they forget the services I've done for them. They found this unexpected connection with the very small Nico family farms. They are expanding now with that support and shipping further down the train tracks. Which is lucky, for it meant you found me. Don't let this cause you worry. I have been allowed time to recover and welcomed to a family I did not know I had. Still, I have not forgotten you for a moment. I would like to see you, and we can speak of things properly. I do not know if I can take the long journey to somewhere, though I am tempted to toss this letter and replace it with a ticket. There is much that needs to be said, and it cannot be spoken through the slow transit of post. I will wait for you to visit when it suits you. You will like it here, so perhaps you will find that long journey worth it. You are welcome any time. I will be here. With love, Yuina.
and at the bottom of the letter, the flowers change to pressed forget-me-nots, much like what you saw on the label of the jam jars on which you discovered the Nico family farm's address.
Virgil very carefully folds up the letter and just tucks it into his belt. Thank you for accompanying me. If it's alright, I'd like to continue to use your post, if that's okay.
I think that's quite alright. I don't get very many letters, but as long as you're not reading my sensitive mail. I mean, you can take a look to make sure it's not for you, but...
No, I wouldn't. That is your business.
How is that yours? I do apologize a little bit for taking a look. I just wanted to make sure it was truly for you and not for me.
That's understandable.
Then let's be getting back.
Yes, let's.
Head back.
He would go and pace around for a while and then get out some paper, tear a page out of his journal and start writing.
Okay, Kian.
When Henry relays the information that his daddy is going to be late, does he say it's because there's trouble in Enosh?
Yes, he would specify there's a bit of a hold-up in Enosh.
Layla's taken over the
Yeah.
train.
Suspicious.
I hope
Literally.
she has.
Good for her.
She's in charge of the town now.
Yeah, it's
Mila's
hers.
the mayor.
Nice.
Mayor Mela.
So you send Marigold over in rat form to visit Lachlan each night?
She would actually be in pigeon form unless, I think maybe on the 5th night, he would talk to Ophelia, get another flask, check in on him, or have Ophelia check in on him verbally. I don't think Kian sends another message.
So Marigold goes in to check each night. After the first couple of nights, and I should say, he does have the the gag and the tie around his hands retied. Just the first night that you visit, or that Marigold visits, which her little pigeon mouth is not able to undo. Lachlan's also looking, if possible, a little worse than when you saw him during the visitation hours. After day 2, it looks like he has some sort of bruise, like a black eye or something, that doesn't seem to be healing. He doesn't react when Marigold comes up to him and does not reply to Ophelia's messages.
He would try to send a flask of blood. Does he drink it?
For this one, well, actually, Lachlan will... You can see from Ophelia's sort of vision that...
You mean Marigold's?
Or, sorry.
Yeah.
You can see from Marigold's images that she shows to you that he looks very nervous. And as quickly as he can, with sort of fumbling hands, takes the flask and drinks from it and attaches it back to the harness. Sort of shoos Marigold away after he finishes.
I don't want to fuck shit up. But I also want to fuck shit up. Do it, coward.
Okay. Go on.
Right as soon as he knows there's a delay.
Okay. So it would be like the 5th day, because Henry finds out that day.
I mean, I think he would talk to Ophelia, like, immediately after this. 6 o'clock in the morning, right when he checks in with Marigold. Like, knock on the door. Quietly at first, but with more intensity.
She opens it. She's wearing like a long floral nightdress and looks blearily at you.
I'm not sure what they're doing to him. I don't know if we can wait.
So she pulls you and closes the door behind you. What are you suggesting?
I'm not sure, because I don't want to mess things up more. They are already messed up, but it seems like they might know something. He's looking a little more beat up than he was before, and the good loves are delayed in coming.
How delayed?
It's gonna be another 12 days at this point. I'm not sure.
What are you thinking?
Marigold can get in pretty easily.
Yes?
Just has to wait for the right time. It's kind of all about timing. And she can carry something with her. And he pulls out the bag of holding from his bag. Well, I don't really need to breathe. Neither does he. I'm not quite sure if I can open it from the inside. But if we let him know, he can let me out. I can untie him. Both get in the bag. Just have to make sure somebody opens the door for Marigold. It's not completely risk-free. I think if somebody were to catch her, well, if the bag gets ripped, we're both in the astral sea forever, so... She hasn't been caught yet.
Ophelia holds out her hand towards the bag of holding. Have you ever traveled in this before?
That's kind of new to me.
And your good love friend? How does he feel about this?
I haven't brought it up to any of them, actually.
She looks back up at you, Kian. So, we get you both out? Would you be coming with us? Would you have to be on the run? If we did things this way especially.
I think I have a debt to this group.
Right.
I think that there's potentially quite a bit of time in the future.
If you do this, I think it will cause trouble for your new friends. I think this decision, well, it affects you more than it affects me. I don't believe they're going to kill Lachlan, but I know they make the next days very hard. Of course, I don't want him to go through that. But I don't want to risk you either, unless you really think this is for the best.
I'm honestly not sure. But I'm not saying it's not going to be hard. I don't think they're going to want me to do this. But I think that there's a way that we can arrange everybody alibis. Except me. Or looks to Ophelia. You haven't really used it much, but can you cast Disguise Self?
I can.
But do you mind trying to look like me? Give me an alibi.
Yes, I can do that. we can just, vanish. Lachlan and I. It's not so hard, we've done it before.
Then, I don't know, it's best at night. You can let him know. Or actually, no, it's probably best in the day. Make sure that you're being seen as me.
Right? I know it's a bit early, but maybe you should, before we get into this, clear it with the rest of your friends.
I think it should be easier. Then they're not caught in the lie.
Kian. She folds her arms. They are caught in this. I think they have a right to know, especially if you need them to make sure they're seen. I mean, I haven't seen Ox since last time you all came to visit. Especially if something happens to you.
Fair enough.
Let me just get changed. She goes back into her room, changes into one of her classic sort of embroidered frilly outfits, but you can tell she's like here for business because she's wearing pants instead of a skirt.
They're like poofy pants.
Yeah, I was gonna say
right?
they're like very wide-legged and then they sort of come in at the ankle, but they are pants nonetheless. And you head back over to Henry's.
Like 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it's about 7:30 in the morning. But I think we've said all of you are awake around that time in general.
Yeah.
Kian will stop to like buy a few things to eat, like just pre-made food.
Mm.
So some pastries probably.
Oh, is this a bribe?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm cool with it, just so we're clear.
And so he'll come in with an armful of pastries and bread. And as soon as he gets in, he'll sit on the couch. I'm assuming Virgil's like awake in there.
Yeah, he's probably leaned up against Orna.
If I could talk to everybody upstairs.
Yeah, I think the other two are up there already.
Right. You can follow me.
Yeah, are you alright? It's a bit early.
He nods and
Or
just
this-
walks up.
Serious. Okay.
Ophelia's there as well. She sort of gives Virgil a wave.
He waves back and looks a little sheepish.
She looks a little sheepish as well. Ophelia immediately takes a seat at the edge of the love seat and sort of folds her hands over cross legs and looks expectantly at Kian.
He sets all the pastries down. So, it seems things have kind of escalated a bit in the jail, and our timeline's extended a bit more because of what's happening in Enosh. So, if you can all trust me, I think I have a plan to get us all through this safely, but I really think that I need to change our plan a little bit, if that's okay.
What do you mean escalate? Is something going on?
Lachlan's seeming a bit more hurt.
What hurt how?
He's just roughened up a little bit. I think they know something.
Do you want me to talk to the sheriff about it? This
No,
shouldn't be.
I think I have an idea of something that could work. With the sheriff, we'll all be safe if we can have a good alibi.
She can't know about this. She wouldn't. I know her character. She
she
wouldn't
won't.
let this happen.
I don't think she knows or is in charge.
Of course she's in charge. She's the sheriff.
She doesn't care.
If I ask her to, she will.
That's besides the point.
You have a lot of faith, Virgil.
It's something I'm working on.
Look, I think we've done enough talking to the sheriff. Why don't we hear out Kian's idea first? I'm also rather against meeting with her again, and it might raise more suspicion than it quells.
Well, we'll kind of point at Marigold. She's been doing a great job getting in and out of the jail without being noticed. And I don't know how. I don't need to breathe. And I've got a bag of holding, and I think he just starts explaining the plan that he told to Ophelia step by step. Ophelia can pretend to be me. And all you need to do is make sure you're seen.
I know where we can go to be seen here. It's not hard.
So you were to go in alone? Without anyone there? What if there was some complication with Marigold, or you were seen by a guard?
Well, Marigold can be invisible. If we're seen by a guard, I know some illusion magic, and I think that it can buy us enough time to become invisible again. It's not entirely foolproof, but it has worked every time so far.
You've never been in this bag before.
I can go in right now, and we can figure that out.
It would make me feel better if we saw that it worked, that you can get out of it once you're in it.
He opens up the bag of holding, like tentatively
And
sticks a hand in.
Swan dives.
Yeah, it just goes in. It looks very strange from the outside. It does kind of look like Kian just sort of dives into nothingness. You don't see... Kian just sort of vanishes into it. He'll wait like 10 seconds, kind of look around in the bag, scoop it out. Whatever you have in there you can see just sort of scattered around.
I actually don't think that...
Then it's just
Oh,
empty.
his parasol was in there.
Okay.
And the cigar boxes.
Yeah, there's some cigar boxes.
Yeah, there's some cigar boxes just sort of scattered around the surface. When you take a step, the ground has a lot of give. The bag is malleable from the inside, so when you go to if you tug on one of the walls, I guess, of the bag, you can see the top move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Can we see the bag move when Kian does that?
Yes. Yeah, you sort of have to awkwardly clamber a bit, but yeah, you can make your way out.
Ox has kind of walked over toward the bag to look down and investigate, and then Kian comes out.
I think as
Hits you in the face.
he's halfway out, he realizes, let me test something real quick, and he pops back in. He just kind of drops his hold and goes to fall back in. He tries to speak to Marigold.
I don't think it works.
Yeah. He has the device to Lachlan.
Mhm.
He's going to pick it up out of his pocket, hold it, and try to use it to speak to Lachlan.
You try to use the device and just nothing happens when you lift it up to your mouth.
Yeah, he says, Lachlan? Doesn't see it go off. Kind of nods. And then he'll exit the bag again, for real.
How was it in there?
I mean, it's a bag. As I've recently learned, I don't need to breathe, so I'm sure it'd be a bit more claustrophobic if you did.
And you're sure you want to do this?
I don't want to regret waiting. Things have been slowly escalating the past few nights.
If this is what you want to do, and you're certain you want to do it alone, alright.
Ophelia and Lachlan they'll get out.
We have our ways. We can get out without people noticing. You have to understand, all of you, this isn't just for his sake. There are other people. We've tried our best to keep information out of the hands of those who we don't necessarily align ourselves with, and if they are making things worse for him, get more out of him than he's given them, well, it's more than just him are in danger here, and not everyone is quite as immortal as he is. So I hope you understand, this is no small thing.
I thought we could wait, but I don't know if we can wait.
I think if you want to go through with it, at the very least it's worth a shot.
Make sure it happens in the day. If you're all seen, it'd be stupid of us to try anything. Ophelia can pretend to be me. I think that this could go pretty smoothly.
We'll just have a casino day.
My thoughts exactly. It's a public place, but it's not too terribly specific.
Perhaps you could update the sheriff via letter on which father is coming.
His name's Metal.
That Metal Goodlove is coming.
I suppose she should be made aware of the delay, yes?
Pretend everything's gone as normal.
I'll draft something up. Kian, you have to promise not to get caught. I know you can't make that and it's unfair to ask, but please try.
I don't want to get caught, so I trust Marigold. I'm going to try my hardest to make everything. I promise.
I will hold you to that. And he sits down and starts writing up a letter to Donna. It's just something short.
Just basic information.
Yeah, Virgil will pull Kian aside, like maybe to like the kitchen or something when no one else is in there. I'm sorry if I seemed resistant to this. It's just when I tried this, it didn't go so well, and I don't want that to happen to you or Lachlan.
Understand, but I gotta try some way. I know it's not foolproof, but I do think it's... If everything works out, no one will even notice he's gone for a bit.
It is a good plan. It's leagues better than what I had, so I think it will work.
Hope so.
Good luck.
He nods, he straightens up. He kind of spends the next little bit organizing magical items, but generally taking off trinkets from his belt, kind of simplifying what he's got on.
Ophelia.
To send a message to Lachlan.
Yeah, Ophelia will send a message just saying that you're going to try to get him out. She doesn't hear anything back from him, but she knows the spell went through. And she's pretty quiet while Kian gets ready. She just sort of sits on the love seat, waits for Kian to leave so that the rest of them can take off for their casino day.
No, Ox fucking sits next to her. He's not gonna leave her alone in this stressful time. Yeah, I think Ox probably made coffee that morning like he usually does. Bring her a little cup and maybe like a little bowl of sugar if she wants some sugar. He would also pull out the flask from his pocket and kind of flash it towards her and offer.
She very gratefully accepts the mug of coffee, but sort of shakes her head as you flash the flask. Yeah, the morning for the rest of you is pretty uneventful as Kian gets ready.
Like, I think he has, like, a looser tunic of his accessories that he'll pass to Ophelia.
All right. Good luck then.
He, like, holds his arms out for a hug.
She runs over and hugs him very tightly. He sort of, like, knocks the breath out of you for a second.
I'll get him out, I promise.
And you as well.
Both gonna get out. It's gonna be fine.
Both.
We'll see what's amongst tonight.
Okay.
Looks at everybody else, gives a nod, leaves.
Okay. Yeah, after an hour, she'll transform. She's already wearing the sort of accessories Kian handed over. She holds up one of the... You've seen Kian wear, like, these armbands around his, like, upper arm. As she's going through the pile of accessories, she picks one of those up. And you see her eyes kind of narrow, and she puts them on. And you all head out to one of the casinos in District 4. It's very popular with tourists. Even fairly early in the day, it's already busy with people in various states of sobriety getting their winnings or their losses.
We'll, like, make a slight detour. Pass that letter along to Donna.
Okay. Oh, I should also mention that Ophelia produces a decent-sized pouch of coin as you get to the casino, and sort of hands it out to all of you.
Ox looks really excited when she does this.
You're being replaced, Henry. How much gold does she fucking give us?
You can't just go to a casino with nothing. You get 35 each.
Nice. We're sitting pretty at
Does
3.
she do a Keen impression? Or does she speak?
Not when she's speaking to them, like,
Yeah.
privately, but as you walk around, you do all hear her do a pretty good impression of Kian, actually. It's easy to forget that it's actually Ophelia who's with you.
That is pretty unnerving.
Kian. You walk over to the jailhouse with Marigold in tow. Did you recast to be Rat, or is she saying Pigeon?
He would cast to Rat.
Cast for Rat?
Cast for
Okay.
Rat that morning before he got ready.
Cool, okay.
Like, he would be in disguise as just a human man on his walk. And yeah, he would wait, like, in an alley for a little bit, watching, put the bag on Marigold, explain exactly what she's supposed to do. He will explain what she needs to do until she gets out of jail, knowing that he'll probably have to re-explain, like, once he comes out.
And he'll go on in.
Okay, you crawl on into the bag.
He takes a deep breath, hedges his bets. He's going to stay in the bag and make sure that Marigold knows to stay invisible for 15 minutes. 50.
Okay.
And then he'll get out, hopefully in Lachlan's cell. That's his plan.
You don't really feel a lot of tossing and turning or anything like that. It's a little bit like being on a ship. There's like a slight motion that you can sense. It does come to a stop. Mm-hmm. Again, you don't have a watch. You can't necessarily tell how long it's been.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he would have discussed this before with Ophelia. I just realized, I had this idea beforehand. He would have told Ophelia to ask Lachlan to open the bag once she got in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he's just playing the waiting game invisibly in there.
Okay. Well, I roll the dice.
Yeah. And you
Um,
made a face about it.
I did. You wait in the bag, you feel it sort of being tossed around a tiny bit. It's still. And then you see just a faint hint of light as the bag opens.
Reaches up, tries to open it a tiny bit more. Look out.
I think you have to be either entirely out or entirely in mostly. I think
Yeah.
you could reach your hand out or something, but once it gets past that, okay. You sort of stumble out into Lachlan's cell. He's holding the bag. He's still gagged, but yeah, he's holding it open. You don't see anyone else around, staring wide-eyed at you.
Keen will cast Minor Illusion just to make a curtain across the cell. I don't know how big, but just to cover both of them.
And then people walk by and see that there's a curtain there.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can't see them.
We don't have much time, but I need us to both go back in here. It's not gonna be comfortable. Gonna get out.
Lachlan just nods.
Leans down, whispers to Marigold. I just need you to wait to get out the door. Stay invisible. All the way until you're at Simone's. Go to Simone's.
He goes.
He'll open the door. He'll open the door. He'll open the bag, and he'll kind of help Lachlan in first, and then jump in.
Okay.
So,
Lachlan just seems a bit kind of dazed, but help him in. Can you roll a d20 for me, please?
yeah. Is this a no longer invisible pigeon? Is that what's happening? He would ask her to be invisible again. Yeah.
She's a rat.
Pigeon of the earth. That's a 16.
Okay. Yeah, so you clamber back into the bag. It's, again, still for a while before it starts to move. Sort of sways around you for a pretty long time. Lachlan is just sort of huddled, eyes closed.
He doesn't need to hold his breath, but he is. He's all tense.
Mhm.
Fingers crossed. And then he'll awkwardly, in the small space, try to untie it.
Yeah, I mean, you can untie it. It's not anything special.
I'm not sure how long we're gonna have to be in here. But I guess you're gonna have to go after this, so. And I can't follow you. We're not gonna have that much time to talk. So I'm sorry. And I hope that we can plan to meet again.
His eyes are still closed as you speak. You're sort of pressed against him a little bit in the small space of the bag now that both of you are in here. You feel his hand reach out, take yours.
Keen squeezes it. Hopefully I can see you for a bit before you have to go, but I think you and Ophelia are gonna get out of here tonight. And we're gonna figure out what mess we've made getting out early, so hopefully we won't be stuck here for too long.
He doesn't say anything still. He doesn't look at you. You can see there's some dried blood at the corner of his mouth. Doesn't look great.
Yeah.
But he's alive, in a sense.
After saying that, holds his hand tightly and closes his eyes. Waits.
Mm-hmm. Our two little bloodsuckers make their way invisibly through somewhere. It's a bit boring for you. You wait there for many hours. Lachlan doesn't really move. He doesn't speak. It sort of seems like he's fallen asleep. And the rest of you have a casino day. I will have you roll. I'm going to have you each roll like a D6.
2.
1.
Also,
Oh no. You lost half of the gold, and the two of you lost 2/3 of the gold.
So tell us a number.
Well, we got
She's also
35.
Just do them.
Yeah.
You had 35.
Making me do math
So 0.6
divide by
0.67 times 35. I'll let you round to the higher gold.
Okay, thank you.
I think at the end, Ophelia's like, well, they tend to do the best to rip people off here, so you did relatively good, actually. But Ophelia...
Bank?
Ophelia is grinning as she says this, or I guess Kian is grinning as Ophelia says this, and is pocketing a lot more gold than
Then she came in with.
And when you all get back to the inn, you can see a little rat with a harness and a bag of holding just sitting in the center of the bed right next to a sleeping deer.
Virgil will close the door behind the group and just immediately go over to the little rat and open the bag.
Kian will take a deep breath and try to climb out, bring Lachlan with him.
Yeah, you sort of half drag Lachlan out of the bag and find yourself sitting in a much nicer room than you last saw.
Oh, thank God.
Ophelia rushes over and just sort of hugs you both.
Well, it's done.
Did anything go wrong?
Pretty sure everything went as smoothly as it could go.
I'm glad.
Nobody saw us, as far as I know. Don't think there was a way they could have seen us. So,
As you're talking, Ophelia is sort of helping Lachlan lay out on the bed. He looks in bad shape. Injuries, bruise on his eye, a cut near his mouth. Opens his eyes slightly and there's a hint of a smile as he sees Ophelia. She turns to the rest of you. Sorry, could you come back later? I'm going to help Lachlan. I know how. Could you just come back later?
Of course.
can I stay?
No. Kim, please.
it's going to be a lot less suspicious if you're still with us when we leave.
He nods and gets up to go.
You step out of the room.
Well, how was your day?
It was just the casino, but nothing happened. In the bag, the way back.
No. And he's not doing so well, but
I can see that.
it's all figured out. And you guys were all seen.
We were.
Everything went well with Ophelia's disguise.
I think so. Yes, it was fairly convincing.
You had a very clever plan, Kian. I'm impressed.
It worked out.
Why don't we go and get a celebratory dinner of sorts? Something to take your mind off of things while we wait for them to finish up, you know?
Kian's just thinking of a place that he's been with Lachlan and Ophelia before. I think it takes him a minute to find it, kind of wanders, up and down a block and then kind of leads them, a block over. It's just a nice restaurant. You'll have your celebratory dinner with the losings from your casino.
I actually gained money.
Technically,
Well, we all did, that's true.
Yeah, we all
That's true.
gained
Yeah,
money.
not me. That is true.
More gold.
Your winnings from Ophelia, your losings from the casino. After dinner, maybe a few drinks, you head back to Simone's, I assume. Mm-hmm. This time, when you knock on the door, Lachlan answers. He has cleaned up. He's changed his clothes. He is wearing some accessories that are familiar to you all, including the armbands. For a dark green tunic, he has quite a few necklaces on, lots of golds and blacks. And the same cloak that he arrived in, but it's been cleaned. Looks over you all. It's a nod.
You're looking better.
Thank you. And the rest of you, heard you were trying to help out. Thank you so much. We have to get going now, so I can give like a little salute. See you never. Closes the door. Kian knocks like twice and then tries to open the door.
Ox is standing right next to Kian.
The door opens again after a minute, and it's Lachlan again, and Ophelia is standing right behind. She looks fed up already.
Ox is trying to like look behind Lachlan to see Ophelia.
Yeah, she's not watching Ox really, she's watching Kian.
Not getting rid of me that easy. And we don't have time to have a big conversation, but I want to talk to you.
He lets out a dramatic sigh. Okay. What?
Can we come in?
Would you rather do this just the three of you this time? Because we don't have to be here for this. If you want some privacy.
Whatever they want. But I think maybe it'd be better if they had a one-on-one. 2-on-1.
Lachlan, who's been just sort of glaring at you, Kian, looks back over the rest of the group and back to Kian. You can see there's like a little bit more of a hint of anger. Fine, come in.
Kian goes and sits on the couch.
He gives a very pointed glare to Ox. Slams the door again.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think Ox would have tried to like step in after Kian and put his foot in the door and slip inside.
Before he slips inside, Henry would grab Ox's upper arm. Look, Ox, we really don't need to make things more complicated. Trust me, myself talking to Maggie with Virgil on scene was already difficult enough. Let's just go have a drink downstairs. I know you love their whiskey here. I'm sure Simone has a wonderful recommendation. Kian will be fine. If he's not out in 30 minutes, I'll come get him myself. Do you think Lachlan really wants to deal with me? Angry?
Ox kind of looks agitatedly over towards Kian on the couch and back at Henry. And
as you sort of glance in at the rest of them, Lachlan, who's taken a seat next to Ophelia at the edge of the bed, waves you in.
Ox looks back at Henry and
He'll let go.
nods his head and goes inside.
Yeah, okay. Jill follows Ox. Henry.
Fine, I'll have my own drink with Simone then. Enjoy your drama.
You don't have to be on your own, it's just... This seems important to... Now, two of us, so...
Fine, then I'll have one of Ophelia's drinks. I don't care, it doesn't make a difference to me.
Look, it's not...
No, he'll go in at that and put his butt on the couch. Not the couch itself, the arm of the couch.
Can't
So
sit
you
straight.
step in. Lachlan's sitting at the edge of the bed. Ophelia has sort of sat a little further back amongst the pillows. She seems a little pale. Lachlan reaches over to the bedside table. There's some more water. Hands it over to her. Keeps one hand on her knee as she closes her eyes.
When are you all planning on leaving?
He motions back to her. Once we can.
Of course. Kian kind of looks awkwardly at the three of you all.
Virgil is making himself small in a corner.
So were you all in on this, or did you join in later? You're friends of Kian, it seems.
We became involved when we learned of the situation.
Right. Well, you did good, Kian. Lesson learned. Don't know why you're still hanging around, but...
What do you mean you don't know why I'm still hanging around?
He shrugs. It's over, isn't it?
I think that there might have been some misunderstandings. I'd like to at least clear those up before we part ways again. Because I know that you're going to have to part ways. We're going to have to stay here. He kind of shakes his head. I did not. I remember writing a better letter than I did. I'll say I don't really remember much of that night. I wasn't doing my best. And I think you know that. I think Lizzie said something to me over the fire, and next thing I knew, I was in your room. I was packing, and it was just... I know that you weren't meaning it maliciously or anything, but you broke a promise to me.
Saved your life.
And I wouldn't have wanted it that way. I think you knew that.
What was I supposed to do? You know, when you're out in the oceans and someone dead in your arms and there's not really anything you can do for them, don't have time to bring them home, magic's not working, most of the time that person just stays dead. Would you prefer that? You think I would have done that?
I'm happy to be here right now.
You have a funny way of showing it then. Glances back at Ox to you.
Why do you keep glancing at him?
You think I wouldn't recognize him? Oh, it wasn't that long ago.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You're gonna keep this up then?
The hell are you saying?
I know it might be frustrating to be beat, but you play well. Didn't know you were a friend of Kian's.
I have no clue what you're saying.
Play? You mean like an instrument?
Right, like an instrument.
I think you misunderstand. Ox has no musical skill. That's me. I play the piano.
Don't think it was you.
I do have an unforgettable face, of course. But really, Ox is with me. He's... Let's put this simply, he's mine.
Lachlan's brow raises at that.
Alright. Someone who looks an awful lot like you then.
I don't know what that's all about.
Of course you don't.
Was it a woman?
I don't know.
And she looked like me.
You can tell he looks sort of confused and is trying to maintain whatever sort of attitude he had before.
She played the fiddle?
Mm-hmm.
It was my sister.
Okay. Well, she's good.
Do you mind explaining exactly what you're all saying?
Well, as you may know, Kian, night I was caught, I was playing here. You know, the things that just crop up. Your friend or your friend's sister was there as well. Played damn well, actually. I like to think the crowd was on my side until you came along and I left.
It wasn't me.
Right. It wasn't you either. Looks over at Ox. Got a lot of doppelgangers in somewhere, don't you?
Can you let me explain my side of the story?
Go ahead. Hey, it's your narrator speaking. Wanted to say thanks to our first supporter on Ko-Fi, Sky. You can find him yourself at Business Magnet if you want to see some of their fine arts. Thank you, Sky. May your travels be filled with clear skies and bright stars. Thank you for joining us here at Spare the Crying. You can follow our boys a little closer over at Spare the Crying Podcast on TikTok and Instagram, and at Spare the Crying on Twitter. The tunes for our tale were created by Marika Shans, and our intro by Ben McElroy. The official art was by our own Corey, who provides the voice of Virgil Flores. We'd love to hear from you all, so if you please, you can leave a rating or review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube. Thanks again for listening to our tale. Hope we meet again, underneath my stars or yours.